Welcome to it, sports fans. A different ball game. Back again, 25th of August, the year of the COVID. What a day. If you are a Man United fan, there is breaking news that has just come out, which cannot be good news. Not by any stretch of the imagination. My God. So some interesting news coming out there about Man United captain Harry Maguire, which could be interesting and could turn Ollie's dreams around for the season. So anyway, welcome to it. Great to have you back. Listen, big guest today. Bafana goal stopper, goalkeeper, because there are some people that are just shot stoppers. Goalkeeper, right? I mean, Darren Keet, the guy's done it all. Living the dream in Belgium. Cannot wait to have him on. He's wide open. So that'll be a fun chat. Get into the mind of a goalkeeper. Not too many people understand that world. Everybody tends to know the number 10, the striker. But great to have him here. Really looking forward to that. And today, once again, my 5 out of 10 looks. That's who you have. It is me, Dave, and then we'll have Darren in a little bit. Today, I'm going to tell you where I was right, where I was wrong. We do this every week because I'm so humble, almost too humble, people would say. Almost too humble. Humble to a fault. I'm going to tell you, with all of the happenings in sport, where I was right, where I was wrong. So we're going to get into that first, and then we will get into our guest. So, you know what? Where I was right, where I was wrong. Let's get into it. Look, where I was right. I spoke about it last night. Neymar, can we please get off the greatness thing? He's not great. He's great talent. Nobody cares about talent. There's lots of talent running around there. Greatness is merging your talent with the right decisions over and over. Neymar's shown a series, an inability to make good decisions over a long period of time. I'm sorry, you've never had a problem with Cristiano Ronaldo. His off-field stuff doesn't affect the on-field stuff. Production versus tolerance. With Neymar, I'm having to put up with more off the pitch than I get on the pitch, right? If he was winning me trebles and Champions Leagues, then I'm willing to put up with models and nonsense in hotels coming out, tax evasion, tax problems with his dad, like corruption in the transfer deal. I'm willing to put up with that if you give me Cristiano Ronaldo numbers. Give me Gareth Bale numbers while he's been at Real Madrid. Do that for me. The team wins. All right. But I was right on Neymar. Can we just get rid of the great tag? Very talented. We've seen much more. Listen, if I said to you right now, I know he likes to samba, he has a good time. If I gave you an option between Kaká and Neymar, it's not even close. It's not even close, but it's just that the dream star on Instagram isn't Kaká, but it's not close. When you talk about greatness, 2002, absolutely vital. Everybody says Ronaldinho. Without Kaká, they don't win. He's the glue. He's the glue. He bound that team together, an absolute unit of a player, an unbelievable career. Carried AC Milan, the dynastic AC Milan, on his back. No problems off the field, all production on the field. Neymar really failed for Brazil. With considering hype to reality, I was right on Neymar. Great, ridiculous, unbelievable talent. I have no problem with that. But I'm afraid not. I was dead right there. Where I was wrong. Hey, the Champions League competition, right? The single leg thing, unbelievable. Unbelievable. I thought, and that buzzer's dead right. But the buzzer is right to tell me I was wrong. Listen, I was wrong. The Champions League tournament, unbelievable. Now, I don't know if a single leg is the way to go, but maybe we get a 2-leg thing going at the end of the season. Finish the leagues, and like we play a World Cup or whatever, semi-finals and finals from now on, we play both legs in a week, 3 days apart or whatever. At the end of the season, we get the players in a bubble, fans travel, you fill up a city's hotels, the city will win. You know what I mean? That instead of fans being there just for 1 day, they're there for 5 days. The city gets to benefit long term because you get football fans. We know they like to consume. We have fan parks. We'll do all sorts of things. Let's do this bubble thing, but 2 legs semi-finals, right? 2 legs, semi-finals, final. We do it all in one city. It was unbelievable. To UEFA, I didn't think I'd ever hear these words leave my mouth. But UEFA, congratulations. They haven't got anything right since 1837. They've been awful. They've been awful the last 30 years. But my goodness, UEFA, in an incredibly difficult time, superb job. Credit where it's due. I'm sorry, anybody who, unless you're a hater, and I ain't no hater, UEFA, give them credit because it was absolutely brilliant. The intensity, COVID, by the way, keeping the players safe, prioritizing the athletes, making sure, which is priority number one, health and safety. They managed to do it. They gave us great football. And Bayern Munich, congratulations. And UEFA, congratulations. Where I was right, listen, Paul George, he ain't it. He ain't it. I told you about flaky people with Neymar yesterday. Paul George has been chasing a title now twice, right? He ain't the guy. And again, we saw it. Listen, Luka shot on from Ljubljana. Nobody's stopping that. That is a mental, absolutely ridiculous shot from downtown by Luka getting that 40-point triple-double. But listen, Paul George, he's not the guy because Kawhi Leonard's doing everything. Kawhi is it, and Paul George is nowhere. I mean, he's the first player to average less than 12 points, right, in the playoffs in forever. That's unacceptable. If you're my second guy, Paul George, superstar, are you kidding me? But I was dead right. I said the way he left before, the way he kind of was snaky with the Lakers, that tells you something about people's character, right? He's not the guy. And you see character when things go wrong. Paul George, it was tough. Luka brought the world down, the 21-year-old. Where was Paul George then? Kawhi can't do everything, and Paul George is no superstar. A star, I'll give you, right? Decent defensive player. I think those shoulders still aren't right. Paul George isn't the guy. Steve Ballmer and his Microsoft millions, they may have to go get... Listen, look out for this. You heard it here first. I think they may say, Giannis, you're in a small market. How about you come play in LA? Plus, you can challenge LeBron in the same building. Plus, you can actually have a decent shoe deal. Giannis come through. Paul George, get the hell out of here. Take that mediocrity, get it the hell out of here. But I said it as Paul George moved, not the guy. Where I was wrong, I thought Frank Lampard was going for the Alex Ferguson 94-95 model. Win with the kids, stick with it. I was wrong. Thiago Silva, age of 36. I don't care how great the man is. I don't get it. You've got Zuma, who was bought very early, so basically a Chelsea kid. Christensen went out to Germany, had 2 great seasons on loan. He's one of your own. Stick with him, right? Tomori, who scored the goal of the season, it's been declared for Chelsea. The guy's ready to play. So you've got 3 ready to go. Whether you get rid of Rudiger or not, I don't know. But you've got your Chelsea kids at the back. I thought Lampard would go, all right, this season we solidify and we take it to the next level with the kids. They will make mistakes, but you stay patient. Chelsea in 2-3 seasons are United of the 90s. Well, he's pivoted, right? Because now Mason Mount's time's going to be cut. Silva's not coming to sit on the bench. He's a fit guy. He's not your 36-year-old who's ready to ride off into the sunset. He wants to play. That affects Zuma. That affects Tomori, right? You're stunting the growth of the kids. Mason Mount in midfield, they've spent 100 million euros on Havertz. Chelsea fan, I love it. But in reality, I'd rather stick with Mason Mount, take another season of pain, and Mount's been brilliant, quite frankly. I'd rather let the kids grow. You have another slow season, maybe 3rd or 4th again, and then you've got men in 2-3 seasons' time, and they Chelsea kids. Callum Hudson-Odoi, that's going to be a problem for him on the right as well, right? He's not going to start above Ziyech, right? Pulisic is going to start on the left once he comes back. He won't be there for the beginning of the season. I thought Lampard would stay patient. Him and Abramovich would go 5-year model. Let's win with our own. Tammy Abraham, forget it. Tammy Abraham might leave, right? Turbo Timo is in the house now. Tammy Abraham is the 3rd option now. Olivier Giroud has shown that he's the guy right now. He gives you that 2nd option, that beanpole number 9, who can play up front and can play off the shoulder as well, and unstoppable in the air. So I think I was wrong on Lampard. I thought he'd build with the kids. It was more of, I had to, rather than I wanted to last season. That's all it shows me. I thought Lampard wanted to go with the kids. Clearly not. Clearly not. And I am so sad as a Chelsea fan. Where I was right. I mean, listen, SA Rugby. It's a shambles. Spaza shop. It's a shambles. Southern Kings, if you haven't read the article, they will not be participating in any tournaments for the rest of the season. I'm sorry. It's you know what? Fool me once. But it's now the 6th or the 7th time this union has a problem. It's SA Rugby is nowhere to be seen. What's happened to all the money from sponsorship? I'll have none of it. It's a spaza shop. I've been saying this over and over. Cricket, amateur. But rugby, are you kidding me? I have nieces and nephews that haven't finished kindergarten that could run it better. I'm sorry, it's a joke. Somebody has to say it. And listen, the media, of course, I don't know what the term is. Captured, I don't know what it is. But it's unacceptable what's happening with the Kings. right, is scratch them. You either write them off or let's get a commissioner, Dana White style, right? Is here are the rules. You don't stick to them, you're gone. Because I'm done with excuses. Southern Kings are a joke. And the Eastern Cape is the bedrock, really, of South African rugby in terms of talent. It goes Eastern Cape, Bloemfontein, and then the rest. But we're treating it like a spaza shop. I was dead right. I've said it before. SA Rugby, a joke. The Southern Kings, joke is too kind. Where I was wrong, the Boston Celtics. Listen, this Tatum kid is for real. Tatum is for real. I just want to tell you right now, this Tatum is for real, people. They're just not even gentlemen. Sweep. 76ers, Joel Embiid, big mouth, social media. Get that the hell out of here. Kemba Walker. I mean, are you kidding me? Boston, well coached, they space the floor beautifully. And in basketball, in sports where there's only 5 people, basketball, polo, you got to know who your guy is. You got to know who your guy is. And then there's another part, is your guy has to accept being the guy. And that's not easy for a young player. Jason Tatum, what you're doing right now is phenomenal, brother. He's saying, all right, one of the most difficult places in the world. Larry Bird, are you the man here? Anything is possible. Kevin Garnett, I'm the next guy. That's huge. They've got a guy long-term, and they've got, in Brad Stevens, they got a long-term coach. Listen, I was wrong about Boston. I thought these kids weren't ready after what I saw, the shambles with Kyrie. I thought it would splinter the dressing room. If anything, they back to the good times before Kyrie, and now Tatum's got his man body. If you're a Boston Celtics fan, I'm so sorry. I got that. Oh, so wrong. They're going to be a problem. If Giannis thinks he's walking to the East title, he is wrong because they got size, they got athleticism, and they got a young lion leading them. Tatum, trouble. But as they say in America, you go have problems. Problems. For real. Jason Tatum, he problems. He is bringing all the heat. Listen, where I was right. I'm not saying it because I was a Chelsea fan. Roman Abramovich is now officially, I don't want to hear it, he's the best owner in world football. You never hear from him. His pockets are deep. And whatever every manager has needed, regime change, you bring your own players. You're playing 3-5-2, 3-4-3, 4-4-2. I don't care. Here's the money. Here's the rope to either hang yourself or to pull yourself up. Of course, maybe the relationship's different, but with Frank Lampard, my God, Thiago Silva, Havertz, Timo Werner, Ziyech. Are you kidding? And they're now talking about the Lille defender who I hadn't heard much of before, Ben Chilwell. 50 million pounds on a left back who's, Chilwell's, I don't see him as an upgrade on Alonso because they're both great going forward, going backwards, train smashed. But my God, Roman Abramovich, I don't know what more he must do. He's the greatest owner to ever be in the Premier League, right? The Man City owners, the thing is you hear from them. They kind of like to be in the stands and be seen. And Abramovich does his thing from way back. Even if he's sitting in the stands, you never hear Romans getting involved with players and managers. And Marina, you're there. Do your job. Marina, you're unbelievable. Marina's unbelievable. Roman, quiet, deep pockets. Chelsea, what do you need to compete? What do you need to compete? How you want to build the team. Every manager has had it at Chelsea now. 18 years is, listen, we're 16 years into this thing. That's not a phase. That's a pattern. He's showing you. I'll give you all of the rope to hang yourself or pull yourself up. Roman Abramovich, I was dead right. I've said it since the beginning. Best owner the Premier League has seen, and 5 Premier League titles later. The most successful Premier League side since he arrived. Roman Abramovich. What a mensch. Uber mensch. Where I was wrong. Listen, Kansas City Chiefs gave Patrick Mahomes $500 million. So generally, if you don't understand American football, the secret is you get the quarterback on his rookie contract. They're on about, even if he's a first round pick, they get around $30 million guaranteed. You space that over 5 years and then you franchise tag him. So you're probably looking at 6, 7, maybe 10 million max on his deal. $198 million cap is you get the cheap quarterback. You hope he's talented, and then you build around him. You pay everyone else around him. Patrick Mahomes, they were smart. I thought the $500 million would be loaded with guaranteed money. He's counting 25 next year, 27 the next, which is middle of the road by contracts. Dak Prescott up at the Dallas Cowboys wants 45. With 25, what's it left? Travis Kelce, you can stay. Tyreek, we can pay you. So they're paying a Hall of Fame tight end. Their receivers, Sammy Watkins, they'll be able to pay Watkins because he's going to ask for that top $18-19 million wide receiver money. Kansas City Chiefs, I was wrong. I thought, all right, here's the problem, because you got the best. Patrick Mahomes already right now might be the most complete quarterback we've ever seen. Now, he's second-year MVP. Like, I don't want to hear it. Patrick Mahomes, we've never seen anything like this guy. Five-star athlete. His dad's a former professional baseball player. Mahomes is the real deal now, and is already being talked about as being the greatest 2 seasons in. They said, let's load that money on the back. They've been brilliant at working the salary cap. So Andy Reid, Kansas City Chiefs, I thought you were going to have to blow it up. I was dead wrong. My God, this thing's a dynasty, 4 or 5. Count it, because Travis Kelce, my guy, wiggles, size, toughness. And listen, he gets into the backfield, he gets into the secondary, take it to the house. Absolutely sensational. Tyreek, 1% body fat. Go long, Reek, Sammy Watkins, Patrick Mahomes. This thing's going to be, it's going to be rolling for a while, folks. It's going to be rolling for a while. They've just handed out 2 big contracts. And the most important one, they elevate him. They paid the guy. Remember, tight end, finally, because we saw what Kittle got. He got that record tight end money, tight end special. It's now being recognized, because a good tight end, you get Kelce, and nobody's Kittle, but Gronk. Gronk's secret for Brady, by the way, it wasn't the catches. Remember, Gronk's thing was the blocking. Gronk was like really an O lineman. Kittle's like an O lineman. Kelce's just a great hybrid, and the blocking. So tight ends finally being recognized. Tight ends are so useful. They're more useful than a running back, a wide receiver. They're part of the O line, and then when they can receive, like Travis Kelce, well, get out of town. I was wrong. So they managed to keep the greatness together. Listen, where I was right. And this one, I love saying I was right. I'm not that person of, I don't like saying I told you so. I told you so. Jack Grealish is not a Manchester United player. And how do I know that? I've told you this. It's all about character. If Jack Grealish is putting things on Instagram, right, where he's drinking with the lads on a boat at Aston Villa, listen, that's not going to work. Because at Man United, that's a different beast. Ben Foster left Man United because he said, I don't want to take football that seriously. I want to enjoy my football. It's all good being Jack the lad and being the big man in town, and he is a Brummie, so they will forgive everything at Aston Villa. They love him in Birmingham. He's one of the lads. That's all good at Aston Villa. Man United, you are always second to the brand. Man United let Jaap Stam at his peak go, Ruud van Nistelrooy at his peak go, the most profitable footballer to ever live, the spice boy of football, David Beckham. Commercially, even his pull wasn't strong enough, right? Once his ego got too big to stay at Man United. Man United don't need you. You need them. And I'll tell you where you see it, right? Paul Pogba's struggling. Pogba wants to be the person. He went to Juventus. Juventus got tired of it. They could have hung on to him. It's like, no, we love you, but go be someone else's problem. Because Pogba wants to be the brand. Man United don't need Paul Pogba. I'm not talking about his quality now. Commercially, is he struggling because Man United aren't? I think Ollie's coming down on it. Is he's not going to put up with all of the malarkey off the field. Man United are the biggest commercial brand, although not the biggest football club, but they're the biggest commercial brand in the world. What does that mean? Everyone's second. Jack Grealish, it's never going to work at United. England didn't select him. We know Gareth Southgate is all about discipline, and he's trying to change the drinking culture of England that they had before in the so-called golden generation before. He's having no more of these low character guys. I'll put up with your talent because you've got even if you have off-field issues. Grealish, I said it before. I said that photo of him, McGinn, and I'm not sure who else it was on the boat drinking like the lads are having a good time out there. That's not going to work in the big time, mate. That's not going to work. You don't get to be big man on the block at Man United. England have shown him now for the Nations Tournament, get the hell out of here. We don't care how good you be. And he's been brilliant for Villa. He's been probably the best creative English midfielder this season. It's all about character. Man United is all about the brand. Paul Pogba's finding that out the hard way. And I think Jack Grealish, England are saying, Remember, it's all about production versus tolerance. Is Jack Grealish is not good enough for the nonsense I have to put up with. Right? And I like Jack Grealish. I like the lad. I like the big time thing. Not a Man United. Gareth Southgate says there's a new thing going in town. Right? We'll put up with you until we got someone better. And they've got people better. Madison's just signed a 5-year deal at Leicester. Madison's tidied up his big-time Charlie image. I think that's the way Jack Grealish must go if he wants that big move. I see him staying at Villa next season. Nobody will love him if he continues to be what he is off the field. Listen, I have to say this. Let me finish off on where I was wrong. I want to go once again to the Europa League tournament. So I said I was wrong on the Champions League tournament. I thought they managed the Europa League even better because I think it was the toughest of the brands to sell. Champions League sells itself. But I thought what they did with the Europa League tournament as UEFA once again, so it's the second time I'm saying big up, was that they managed to package it correctly and say, you know what, this tournament is for real as well. And I thought they had a really, really nice kind of element of elevating the tournament, getting the dates correct so it wasn't clashing with the boxing, the WWE, whether you're a fan of that. It didn't clash with any of that. It didn't clash with the MLS, didn't clash with the NBA. I thought UEFA did an incredible job with the Europa League. The final was fantastic. The setting was fantastic. Again, keeping the players safe. So UEFA, terrific job. I was dead wrong on that. I expected that to be a flop. I was so wrong. And once again, semi-finals, let's play 2 legs, same city, final in the same city on the weekend after you're done. You make it like the Super Bowl. You make it a 2-week tournament. In the first week, you play both semi-finals. You give a week build-up to the Champions League on the next Saturday. You allow all the journalists to gather in that city, and then you bubble it up. Fans are around. It becomes like the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl has like a 3-week break, and the press love it, and they just lap it up, and they build it up. Something for UEFA to consider. Something for UEFA to consider. Congratulations, UEFA. And folks, that is where I was right. That is where I was wrong. Coming up next, a man who cannot afford to be wrong often. He is a goalkeeper and a proper one. We got a great guest coming in. This is such an honor to have this guy on. And, I've really been privileged to have incredible guests getting to do this, live this ridiculous life. Like what are these top class sportsmen doing talking to a knucklehead like me? Anyway, they seem to say yes. So we're going to go with it. Let's ride this ticket while it's hot. Because eventually they're going to find out I'm just a knucklehead. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a very special guest coming up after this. All righty. Listen, Dave, we're going to have to give him an introduction. I think it's the only way to do it. We got a great guest today. And we're going to have to give him ladies and gentlemen, introducing a man that flip-flops the hair color more than Beyonce. He is what the ladies are calling a keeper. Once a Vasco da Gama, not the explorer, ladies and gentlemen, representing South Africa, representing Cape Town, the finest from these shores, now living in Belgium. Ladies and gentlemen, he goes by the name of Popeye, hailing from Cape Town, South Africa, the one and only. And he is now at OH Livion. I don't even know how to say the name. But ladies and gentlemen, he is the finest we have in between the sticks in South Africa. Darren, Popeye, Keet. Come on, brother.
You have to get me laughing, don't you?
You're the guy. I mean, who knows when this opportunity will come by again. And Darren, an absolute honor to have you, bro. How are you doing?
Oh, very well, thanks yourself. Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to chat to you guys. So I'm excited. I'm excited for it.
Hey, listen. Let's talk about real life for a second. You're in how was lockdown in Belgium? Number one, just as from a, I mean, you're a family man now. How was it did you stay in Belgium? Did you come home, which is South Africa? Do you consider South Africa home, Belgium home?
Oh, South Africa's always home, but yeah, when lockdown happened here, it was quite early in March, so everything got cancelled. The leagues got cancelled. Everything had to stop immediately, and then we kind of went into a lockdown where we were allowed to just leave the house to walk around and exercise, but other than that, we had to be at home all the time, and it was crazy, a little bit crazy with the kids. Obviously, the kids were home from school, so it was a little bit tough for us. But we did get asked from the president in South Africa. He sent out notices to the Football Association to ask if there's any athletes that want to come home back to South Africa. They will organize a flight and things like that. So I think one or two did go, but I just decided to stay because obviously we settled in Belgium, so everything was okay here. We felt more comfortable being here at the moment because we were here for the last couple of months before the lockdown happened. So we were more than happy to stay. So we just waited it out and waited for things to improve.
So is your wife Belgian, huh?
No, she's actually German, but she's born in Germany, in Kaiserslautern, but she grew up in South Africa. So her family moved down to South Africa when she was pretty young. And then she grew up in Cape Town and a little bit in East London also. And then, yeah, I met her in Joburg. So it's a whole whirlwind of how things came about.
Oh, wow. Listen, very humble on your part to marry somebody who grew up in East London, because they do it differently there. So that's awesome.
East London.
You know,
East London.
Oh, slummies, huh? Listen, my family's from the Eastern Cape, so I can always jab them there. So talk to me about, something that people don't kind of take into account as an athlete is, especially goalkeepers. Just from my time, being around goalkeepers, you guys are the crazy guys. But one thing I know about goalkeepers, and correct me if I'm wrong, is you're creatures of habit. I know all of the goalkeepers I've ever known hate it when their routine is broken. So, everybody talks about the disease. Yes, everybody, we want people to be safe. Like, okay, fine, that's fine. We're not saying, although I think sport is the most important thing in the world, but whatever, you can have your ethical arguments at home. What was it like for you? Now you're out of that routine, right? You're a creature of habit. Am I correct to say goalkeepers are creatures of habit? What was it like to break that habit and have to stay at home?
It was difficult because the biggest thing was I wanted to get out of the house, get back to doing what I usually do. So obviously no golf, no football, everything stopped. Like obviously when it comes to weekends, there's golf on TV. I like to do that. Now all of a sudden I'm watching a series with the wife on the couch on a Saturday night, and it wasn't the ideal situation. So when you talk about habit, I've got a habit in everything I do in my daily routine, my weekend routine. So it was a big mess up. It was a balls up, and I didn't like it at all. So to kind of get back to some sort of normality, it's really, really good now at the moment.
Hey, Darren, take us into it. I know this might come as a surprise to you, but not everybody on planet Earth is a 1% level athlete like you and isn't a world-class goalkeeper. Take us into that habit and routine, brother, because, even though we might see goalkeepers, they almost get dismissed as okay, well, he's just the guy at the back, and if he's got a good back four. But take us into your routine, because I don't think this is something many people would know. It would be interesting to me. Lay out your Monday to Sunday for us. Let's say hypothetically we've got a Sunday home game. What does your week look like?
So the way our coach likes to do it now at the moment, he likes to train almost every day of the week. So we don't get a day off during the week. We just carry on straight through till the match day. So the last time we played on a Sunday, what did we do? We trained. We had the Monday off, and then we trained twice: Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then we had one training Friday, Saturday, and the game on Sunday. So it's quite a hectic schedule. And training twice a day. We go into training about 7:45 in the morning. We have breakfast. We have weight twice a week. So normally we'll have our weight once we arrive. We get into breakfast, have breakfast, and then we wait around for 10:30 for training. And then we have a second training session at 3:00 in the afternoon. And then the rest of the week, the last 2 days before the game, we'll just train once. So it's just a 10 o'clock training. So you go in again, breakfast, same routine again, and then training. And then after lunch, we can go home. So it's quite a hectic schedule, quite a hectic routine. And going into match day, we would meet about 3.5 hours before the game. We normally have a pre-match meal, which is 3.5 hours before the game. And then we do the same again, a routine. So you have the lunch, you have the team meeting, you travel with the bus to the stadium, and then you prepare for the game at the stadium.
And now, for you as a goalkeeper, because obviously your preparation will always see 2-3 keepers preparing by themselves. So you as Darren Keet, what are the things that you like to do to get yourself, number one, mentally? When do you start mentally visualizing the game? Is that something you like to do? Or do you just like to get out there? What's your routine once you get separated from the team?
So what I like to do is not much at all, actually. But I just like the goalkeeper coach. Yeah, I just like the goalkeeper coach to have his way of doing his warm up with me. I don't mind about the warm up because I'm easygoing. Like, as long as I'm ready for the game, I'll be okay. So 90% of it's getting yourself ready for the game. The other 10% is just doing your normal warm up routine a couple minutes before the game. So as long as the goalkeeper coach knows what I want, a little bit of what I want in a way of routine, because every week I like the same routine, the way I warm up and things like that. That's the only thing I'll ask for. And then the rest of it doesn't matter to me. I think just as the whistle goes to start the game, that's when I'm actually into the game right there. So I don't worry too much about it before the game. Even when you walk onto the field, it's not too much of an issue for me. I joke around with the guys right up until we get out onto the field, and then the whistle goes, and then it's straight into the action.
Yeah. Wow. That is one thing I think people don't realize is how much sportsmen would struggle. And it's why I've been so impressed with the NBA is sportsmen just love routine, because really your whole life, generally guys like yourself, is most people, not all, but most of you guys that make it to the top, is you've generally been playing in some sort of academy setup since you were 14, 15, 16. So your life has been built around, your family's life has been built around, how do we get Darren to football? How do we get him back? How do we keep him not injured in the holidays? And I mean, prodigious talent obviously has to be handled differently. So it's so interesting to hear that. And so for me, one thing that I've always wondered, because obviously I love football, is I look at the way the position of goalkeeper has evolved, and my lens to football, I have to be honest, is through the European lens. Do you think in South Africa we take the goalkeeper position seriously? As we're watching guys like Neuer and Edison, and I mean, to an extent yourself, who like, give me the ball, I'm part of the back four, the back five. Is in SA, do we take the goalkeeper position seriously still, or is he still a shot stopper who, okay, if we have to, we'll pass it back to him, instead of he's a part of the game plan, building the game up, if you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it all depends on the coach, who your coach is and things like that. I think in South Africa we have really good keepers. I mean, all the guys that have been there in the past, Munib Josephs, even Emile Baron, Wayne Roberts, to the guys who played before. Itu's obviously been there for many years. He's done well. And Ronwen Williams, everyone knows who he is. So there's always been a good row of keepers and guys who have been able to play and to do well in every single game. I think the goalkeepers are probably one of the strongest parts in the South African football at the moment, because we have academies. We have specific academies. I know Shoaib Walters, he's doing his goalkeeping academy now. I know one of the old coaches who coached me at Bafana, Andre Bronkhorst, he's got his own goalkeeping academy also now at the moment. So all the goalkeepers are doing these things for goalkeepers. I think where the problem comes into the football game is that there's not enough academies for all sorts of players, for all the players to build academy teams, really, So like even with myself, I played Ajax Cape Town for 3 years, and after 3 years, they told me I wasn't good enough, but I wasn't worried about being good enough for Ajax Cape Town. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew where I wanted to go, and I knew the steps I had to take to get there. So when I left Ajax Cape Town, I went back to my old amateur club. But the structure within my amateur club, which was Boeresig, it was a good structure. So I always played within a structure. So I think the problem comes is where a lot of players don't play within a structure, and they get put into a structure too late. So like I was at Ajax for 3 years, it was from age 11 to 13 or 10 to 13. So within the professional structure, I learned a lot, and I was able to carry that through with me throughout. But nowadays, I think a lot of players get into the academies too late. I mean, to get into an academy 15, 16 years old is way too late, because you have so much to learn as a player, and to push yourself forward, to push yourself to a higher level, and to integrate into the professional team. So I think we have to get things started at a younger age, and that's where the goalkeepers are getting the best training at a young age compared to the rest of the players, I think.
Wow, that's unbelievable. And I just want to say, before I say this, I am not. No, listen. I spent, so in fact, it's funny. I was chatting to our producer a little bit earlier. He's a big time like ultra runner, and he loves running, and he's into rowing. And we were just chatting about some running earlier. And we were just talking about, well, good. By the way, two things. Ajax Cape Town's academy was wrong, number one. So let's be, I don't want to leave that out. Shout out Ajax, you were wrong. And number two, good thing you're a goalkeeper if you hate running. But I spent some time back, I'm a little bit older than you. I spent some time when Transnet was sponsoring the School of Excellence. I don't know if they're still sponsoring that, but I was in the School of Excellence when I moved to Joburg. So back then they were just starting it from around 8 years old. So I completely understand what you're saying. And then when I got to Tottenham and Watford, even then I realized, oh my God, even my academy, we have no idea. Like when I was, like you're saying, because I went at 18, it's like, oh no, it's too late. My football education, a lot of these kids have got a PhD, and I'm still in really grade 5, if you want to use that level. And you've said something interesting, that ability to play within a structure. A lot of people may not understand what you mean by that. Like, what are the things? So let's say, everybody in South Africa says, yeah, we've got all this talent, Chief. What's the problem here? What are the things playing within a structure, right? What are you actually talking about there? Like, now I'm a brilliant centre back at my amateur team, and he's the Ngakara. This is the boy. He's physical, he's quick, he's got timing, he can mark. But then what are you actually talking about teaching a 9, 10-year-old that structure that you're talking about? What is it you need to kind of invest in that player's mind?
Well, just to understand like the roles within the team. So my manager, Sean Bester, he's trying to come up with an idea also with youngsters, because what happens is, especially amateur clubs, when you get to like the under 7 level or under 10 level or whatever, it's kind of, you just go out and you play. Now you've got 11 youngsters on the field running around, not really understanding what they're doing. So he's come up with an idea where because of modern day football, where you have the formations, he's come up with an idea of like trying to structure a 4v4. So like kind of, a mini way of playing football, smaller pitch, 4v4. And in that way, kids understand better when there's less told to them. So there's less players on the field. There's only 4 players, and each of them know exactly kind of what their position will be and what they need to do. And I mean, it's hard to explain exactly what I mean within the structure, but in everything in life, there's a structure. So obviously football, it's no different. You have to understand what your role is, what's needed of you, and what you're going to do. So like at a young age, when you play at a young age, you're just going to go and do whatever you want to do and whatever you feel like. And when there's 11 of you doing all of that all at the same time, then it becomes a little bit chaotic. So you really need to bring it down a level to minimize the chaos, and just to try and keep it in a certain way where everyone understands their role and their job specifically, so that when they do the job, they're doing what is exactly what's needed of them, and not what's not needed of them.
I think you've nailed it. And you came from the Ajax school. So I've read and watched all the documentaries about obviously Cruyff and even before that, the notion of 3-4-3, 4-3-3 total football. And they say the golden years. You're from that. but I don't know if you got introduced to the term the golden years when you were there, but they speak of something in the Ajax Academy called the golden years. And Cruyff said, if we don't catch the child between 4 and 7, it's too late. Because by then, and we know through neuroscience now, at 6, your personality is formed. I know a lot of people don't like to hear that. At 6, we really know who you're going to be. So if we can't teach you, hey, it's brainwashing, whether you like it or not. You know, if you've played sport, you understand is you need to brainwash somebody to be functional and understand that, hey, you are a cog in a system. Don't come here and be a star. And I think that's so interesting to hear from somebody like yourself. And you're living in Belgium now. I mean, you know, I thought we'd get to a lot of other stuff, but you really, I love the way you've opened up another can of worms. You're living in Belgium now. What is the population of Belgium? Like 16 people, right? And
almost.
Once again, but when I say De Bruyne, when I say Hazard, when I say Torgan Hazard, you know, listen to these names that I'm kind of blurting out. Thibaut Courtois. This is not a mistake. If they had 1 or 2, fair enough. Lukaku. I mean, 1 or 2 is a mistake, or maybe it just happened that one generation, but they've got 10, 15 that are in and around that world-class bubble. What is it you're noticing there that they're doing that really has created this incubation for to create? I mean, Hazard, De Bruyne, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. So it's not about what I think they're doing; it's what I know they're doing. So what happens is because all the it's easy to get to. So all the big teams, all the professional clubs, everyone has an academy. So the moment you're a professional team, you have to have your academy, and you have to have your academy structure in place and things like that. So every year, they all play against each other. And obviously, it's pretty much the same league as the professional league, but it's just the academy teams who are playing against each other, and they get relegated and promoted and things like that, just the same as we do with our professional clubs. So when a team goes up or down, their academy team goes up or down with the club, and then you play in that sort of league. It's something like that. I'm not 100% sure, but I do know that they do play against each other, and the league is very competitive. I mean, you travel in a bus. They do the whole bus thing. Everyone's in the bus. They go to the game. So it's a proper professional system which they use to play each other, but it's at an amateur level. And also what we have in the reserve league, whereby all the reserve teams play in, they don't really have that. How can I say? They've got the 8 best teams. So however your academy performs over the year, you then get put into the elite bracket of the academy of the reserve teams, and then only the 8 best reserve teams are playing against each other in the league. And then obviously, depending on how you do, it's not you go up or down. It's not like a promotion thing. So, but if your team does well, if your academy does well, a higher level. So it's always competitive. It's really, really competitive at all levels here.
And then in terms of developing coaches, because I may be wrong, but my criticism of SA football has always been we're obsessed with the talent, which is natural and raw. And once again, we fail with the systems and operational side. Listen, that's not for you to say. I'm pretty sure you want to come back and play. I'm not gonna put you in a position where you have to speak against your employers. But for me, I've always said this: we have the same problem in cricket and we have the same problem in rugby. In my opinion, is that we have too many talented players, and we don't have enough talented administrators or qualified administrators and coaches. So, how seriously do they take developing coaches in Belgium? I would imagine that must be something that's for real.
Yeah, definitely. We've actually, at the moment, we've got, I think, 4-5 players doing the UEFA B coaching course at the moment. And obviously, I'm gonna try and be doing mine soon, hopefully. I need to do mine in Ireland because I need to do it in English, not in Dutch, preferably. Thank you. But so at the moment, we have about 4 or 5 players who are doing their coaching license, and they're still playing. So they're active players taking time out of their own day to do their coaching license. Whereas, like I find in South Africa, for instance, Dane Clayt, he's busy with his now, and he's just retired. for me, a person like that who wants to do it should be doing it during his playing career, so that when it comes to the end of his career, he already knows what he needs to do, where he needs to go, and he's got things lined up for himself. So, someone like that who's going to be a good coach eventually, he should have done it before. And then now that he's retired, he's already in the strong position to get a job almost as soon as possible. So, they do start pretty early here. They start putting their things to the side, their lifestyle and stuff to the side, because they want to focus on their coaching courses and things like that. So that's also something that I'm going to try and do in the future. And I'll also just try and start doing my coaching course, make sure I get the B license, and then go on from there.
Let's go. Hey, but what are you now? 31, hey?
Yeah, 31.
I mean, but hey, let's take it easy. I mean, we still got 5 or 6 good years here.
Hopefully a little bit more. Hopefully a little bit more.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, Van der Sar was still rocking at 40. So, I mean, hey, I want you to set up your future, but take it easy. I'm still a Bafana fan. We're gonna need you. We're gonna need you to do the right thing. Take it easy on the retirement talk. But I hear that, and I always love when guys plan for the future. But let's talk a little bit more about on the pitch, because I'm interested in your journey. Like you've let us in a bit to say Ajax, wrongly, by the way, Ajax Cape Town said you weren't good enough at a certain age. You then went back to amateur football, and then you guys had that. You were part of. It looked like Vasco da Gama were going to become the team, right? When you were a part of that. Talk us through your journey from Vasco and how it just really catapulted from there, because you guys got that promotion. I remember, I don't know for what reason I was focusing on you guys at that stage in the story. I mean, it was a romantic story, the way you got promoted as well. Talk us through that, and not coming through your classic high level sort of Kaizer Chiefs, Sundowns Academy, where there's big eyes on you. Was it harder for you coming from Vasco, having to fight through, or would you say it's easier because it's like you were almost playing all the time and developing?
So it's another thing. Like, I mean, if I take you back to the beginning, I left Ajax, which I was actually happy to do, because I wasn't happy there at the time. So I went back to amateur football, and I said to myself, I'm just going to take a break from it. I'm going to play out. So I decided to play midfield for a year. And so we were in like the B League. So I played midfield for a year, scored 1 goal. And I was like, nah, it's not for me. I want to go back to goalkeeping. So I went back to Edgemead, which was just up the road from Borisov, because they played in the A League. So I went there to play for them. Obviously to play against the higher level. We played against your Ajax, and at that time Hellenic was still in the league and things like that. So I played at a competitive level. And from there, when I was around 16, my manager, he said to me he wants to try and manage me, to help me, and because he thinks I can turn professional and things like that. So I was like, of course, I'm happy to hear that. Let's go. So what he did was, at 16 years old, he took me to Borisov, but to play in the senior team. So at 16, I was already playing senior football, competitive football, which it wasn't really pretty football, but it was more like tough football, getting stuck in and things like that. Your good old English way of playing football. So the reason he did that was not for the quality, but more just to get me built up to the strength and the things of playing with so-called adults and things like that, get into a tougher league and stuff. And from there, I went to train with Santos for a while Roger de Sá was at Santos. I was still 16 at that time, or 17. I went to train with them, and he wanted to sign me. But my manager said, no, I need to finish school first. So from there, I went to Vasco. That's when I went to Vasco at age 17. And while I was at Vasco, Roger just followed me. He followed everything I was doing. And with Vasco, we played in the Vodacom League. So it wasn't in the first division, but it was the Vodacom League at that time. So like the second division. And I played there. I was 17 years old. We did well. We got promotion to the first division. And then that's when I left to go to Wits. So Roger de Sá followed me back then. And then obviously he watched our tournament, our promotional tournament that we had to play. And that's when he decided to sign me at Bidvest Wits at that time. And yeah, that's how things got started.
What an amazing story. So was that the first time, was your did you, when you went to Wits, were you starting straight away, or did you have to?
No, I was third choice. I was everywhere I've been to, I've always come in as like a second choice, to get into the thing. So it was the same at Wits. I was 18 years old. I was like the third choice keeper, got a lot to learn and things like that. And eventually, the keeper who was playing, Energy Murambadoro, he was a Zimbabwean international. So I learned so much from him, and also the goalkeeper coach Wendell Robinson, who's at Sundowns now. And as you know, Sundowns have won everything. So I worked with them, and it was really good. And I was still young, and Energy got injured at that time. And the goalkeeper coach said, stick him in, let him play, and let's see what happens. So I was excited to play. I was kind of nervous, and I just thought, I've done this for so long, it doesn't matter. And that's the end of that. I just played, and I continued to play, and then obviously the next season I became like the first choice at the club.
Oh, that's tough. 20, and I'm starting at Wits. Like, talk me through a side of football which got me in the end, got me the hell kicked out of Watford. Is, listen, off the field, how were you managing that? Were you single? Did you have family? Like, how did you keep it together? Because I feel like this is a side of football. Maybe people talk about it. I don't think they talk about it enough. Is, you all of a sudden become a lot more attractive to a higher quality of ladies, etc. Now instead of at the end of the month. No. I mean, this was way before. No, back then you're a different man now. No, if your wife's watching this, is, how did you handle that stuff? Because off the field, I mean, it's not necessarily ladies, but that does become a problem. But let's talk about lifestyle. Did you have a strong? I mean, was your manager strong with you at 20? Listen, you're a child. You're a child now. Instead of having 5,000 rand, you maybe had 12,000 rand in the bank. How did you keep it together?
So, I mean, it wasn't too difficult for me, because when I moved to Joburg, obviously I was alone, and I got put into a house with two Brazilians who couldn't speak any English at all. So I was pretty much stuck with them, trying to teach them English and things like that, using sign language and whatever. And we would actually go to one of the shopping centers which were close by. And I moved to Wits in 2008, July 2008. That's when I went to Wits. And by the end of the year, I had already met my wife through the Brazilian guys, because we had gone to the shopping center, Glen Vista Mall. We used to go there quite often, and they fancied one of the girls who worked in the store. So they would just go in and try and speak English to this girl. And eventually this girl, she figured out they probably speak Portuguese, because they sound something like that. And eventually she also spoke Portuguese. And I think she was from Mozambique. Yeah? Glen. So I assume...
Hey, Miguel and them are in Glen Vista, but you know this.
So she must have been from Mozambique or something, and my wife actually worked in the store with her. So that's how I met my wife. So it was quite soon. So I never really did too much of the single life things. Immediately when I met my wife at that time, we got together almost straight away, and we've been together ever since. So obviously I did the normal partying things, going out with the boys and things like that. Saturday nights, I've done nights before training, things, all of those type of things. But it was never an issue. It was just a typical boys' night out, going to a party, nightclub, and things like that, and then going back home. So everything worked out good in the end.
It certainly did, man. And now you have a beautiful wife and a beautiful family. That is, I just want to tell you, that is the least romantic story I've ever heard, and I love it. I'm not a romantic, that's such a cool way to meet your wife. And so it sounds like a fantasy. Like, hey, I went to the shops with two Brazilian guys, and then they were speaking Portuguese, and they were trying to speak English, and then I met my German wife, who was actually raised in like, the story sounds like a fantasy. It's surreal, dude. I'm so happy for you, brother.
I was at that time I was too shy, so they had invited the Brazilian or the Mozambican girl over, or whatever she was, I'm not sure. And I told them, I was like, tell her to invite the friend also, and tell the friend to come too.
Smart.
There we go.
Smart. Be a friend, tell a friend.
Well.
Spread the love, and here we are. And now this is hey, people helping people. It's a wonderful story. But you're joking, right? Alex Ferguson always said one of his things is that he always looked for guys to get married early because then they settle down. So it's interesting what you're saying is people don't think about this. Is you were a kid. Like I'm saying, you probably had a few extra pennies in your pockets, and we all know how that goes. We know Jabu Pule's story. You know, we don't have to rehash this. We know Benedict Villagazi's story. We know some of these guys' stories. Never had a penny, and then you got the pockets chinging. So good for you, man. And I'm really I'm ecstatic for you in that sense. So let's talk about again. I'm interested as a goalkeeper. Is why do you think goalkeepers get better? Because I think, let's be honest, you entering your prime years now, statistically speaking, because goalkeepers seem to get better at around, you're in your best years. Your hair's never been blonder, by the way. You're looking sharp. You look like a 25-year-old. But why is it keepers from around 30 start to hit their stride? I've got my theories, but I'd like to hear what you've got to say.
Obviously, it's got a lot to do with gaining experience, because you're not just going out there and playing the game. You learn to read the game in a certain way. You learn to figure out ideas of the other team. So what works for me is adapting myself to what the other team does, and then me trying to play accordingly. So like you get a few teams who try and put some crosses in the box, and I've got to adapt my game to that, to make sure that I'm always prepared for that. You get teams who try to attack through the middle and try and play quick football coming through the middle, get shots on goal and stuff like that. So I've learned to kind of read those things and to adapt my way of playing to that, and organizing my defense in the right way so that we can defend against those certain situations. So it's a key part in being a good goalkeeper, in trying to be the best that you can, is making sure that all the pieces are working together for you, so that when things do come towards your end of the pitch, then you know exactly what you need to do. You need to know what you need to do. You know exactly what your defenders are doing, and then it makes your job a lot easier. So like Buffon, for instance, he's still playing because he's got all the capabilities of making sure that everything works according to the way he wants it to work, so that when he needs to do something, he pretty much knows what he's going to do by the time it arrives. So that's the way I think of it. So I try to create the scenario where for myself, where I know that the team will end up playing to my strength. So obviously everyone's got weaknesses, so we got to try and avoid the weaknesses and make sure the team plays to your strength, rather than you trying to figure out and trying to do things according to the other team's strength.
So I've got a pretty loaded question for you, because how tall are you? Google says you're 183, hey?
Yeah, 183.
All right. So by keeper standards, that's probably on the shorter side. That's like Casillas' height, eh?
Yeah. The same.
Yeah. I mean, you're basically the same keeper. I mean, like whatever. Casillas, Casillas, Keet. It's so close as well.
Slightly bigger check.
It's neither here nor there. What's a couple of 100 million euros between keepers? So talk to me about Ika, huh? He just Saint Ika, so some guy. He is a saint. They call him Saint Ika. We'll give him a shout. We'll reach out to him, say, hey, listen, Darren Keet is in lockdown in Belgium with a German wife he met at the shops through two Portuguese Brazilian-speaking guys.
Oh no, I get tired of this.
Man. I'm telling you, listen, I'm telling everyone that, because that is one of the wildest stories I've ever heard, and I love that story. It's unbelievable.
At least romantic.
I love it. Like, hey, so would you like a plastic bag for these green beans? How would you like to go on a date? Darren Keet, my guy. You really are a keeper, as they say. You really are a keeper. But let's talk about the height thing. As a key, like I'm a Chelsea fan. I had my issues with Kepa Arrizabalaga, but I'd rather hear it from you. Is how important is height? Because for me, I always say to people, and they hate me for it, I get nervous if my keeper's not 190 or more, because I've been spoiled at Chelsea. I had Petr Cech and I went straight to Thibaut Courtois. But on a very serious level, you're somebody who understands the nitty gritty. Is how important is height as a keeper in European football, particularly where, unless you're playing, maybe where you are, it's a little bit technical, but European football, that direct crossing, set pieces are a huge thing in European football, where they really do set it up. So does height matter, or is it all about technique?
So I'll ask you quickly then, do you think Matthew Ryan's a decent keeper at Brighton?
You know what? There was a belter that I don't know if you saw the Arsenal game that they.
Yeah, I saw that save. I thought that was all over.
Well, no, but there was also a goal in that game when Arsenal went and lost it in the last minute. But who's the new Pepe? Pepe scored what looks like a banger on TV. But if Matt Ryan, I wonder if he was 5 centimeters taller. If he was Peter Cech, his arm gets there. But I don't know. Like, also, because I like Matt Ryan, but he's 184, I think. Yeah. Like, hey, this is the best.
He's also 183, 184. Yeah.
Okay, so he's 183 as well. But I might be wrong. Go ahead.
No, I don't think height matters too much for me personally, because I have to say that because I'm a little bit on the shorter side. But,
I like that.
yeah, like one of my strengths is being able to deal with the high ball, with crosses and things like that. So one of my strengths is a set piece. So for instance, like I've said to all my coaches, I said, the moment there's a corner or free kick, get everyone out my way because I want to come. That's my position. That's where I want to go. So a lot of keepers don't like it. A lot of keepers do like it. My preference is that I like to go. I feel my timing's pretty good, going out for crosses and things like that. So that's a strength of one of the strengths of my part of the game. So it's, I don't know. Each for their own, I guess. Huh?
Yeah.
Each for their own. So it's hard to say. When I came to Europe the first time, I went to Ghent first, and then they were really interested in me. They liked me. They wanted to sign me. And then all of a sudden we went into the meetings and stuff. And then the director, he's like, no, he's too short. So it's one of those things. And I ended up going to Kortrijk, which was up the road, a few days later, and then they liked me. And ever since then, it hasn't really been a problem for me. So height hasn't been a problem for me. It will be an issue for some people, but not for everyone.
Sure. And I love that. And you've touched on something. Let's talk more tactically. Hey, Darren, this interview, by the way, is going way better than I had planned it. Like, you probably should have my job. Your answers are... Yeah. And this type of insight is awesome, man. Because I think goalkeeper, I love that position. I love an Edison. Neuer is my favorite of all time because he's part of the team, and some of this insight is absolutely thrilling for me. So thank you for being so gracious with your time. Now, Darren, something I want to get. Let's get into the tactical side. Right? Is everybody gets obsessed with a back four, back five, or whatever it is. Now, when, like once again, I'll go back to my club because it's the reference. Kepa struggled a bit. Number one, with his confidence. I know confidence is everything in life, especially for a keeper. You're a man on an island. But how important is a goalkeeper in the success of a back four, back five, just from a tactical side? Okay, communication's one thing. But what are the other things you're doing as a goalkeeper at the top level, which you play at, to help younger defenders, which maybe this has been Kepa's downfall, maybe it's not, it just hasn't worked. But when you're playing with, with a back four, back five, what are you doing to try and get their performance levels up? How important is a keeper to the success of a back line, tactically speaking?
I mean, to the success of a back line, obviously it's very important. Our coach, obviously everyone knows Gavin Hunt, the way he carries on and things like that. And he always used to say to us, if you want to be the best team, you have to be the best in defense, because that way you'll win more games and you won't lose as many games. So, he always used to focus on the defense, making sure everything goes according to plan. And once the defense is sorted out, then, the rest of the team can keep doing their thing. So with the keeper, to the success of a team or the defense rather, I think it's always important, and it will always dictate on how the team performs. in a league, not in every match, but in a league, because you need to create how can I say, you need to create a thing whereby everyone believes in. So you create a way of playing and a style of playing, a way of defending that everyone believes in. And obviously one of the things I try to encourage my players to do is just to enjoy defending. So when the guys are coming, just enjoy the job that's coming to you. And I mean, a perfect example, we played 3 weeks ago in the opening game. We drew 1-1, and we had 2 injuries in the first half. So one was a hamstring, the other one was a groin injury, and they both had to go out. So one was our central defender. So he was replaced by a younger guy. So my message to give to the younger player, because it was his first ever game in the first division in Belgium, whereas I've played 145 games in Belgium. So for me, it's no big problem. Deal. So for me, it's routine. So my first thing I said to him was if you get on the ball and you're not sure, just give it to me. I'll deal with it, because obviously, I've been in that situation so many times. So give it to me and I'll deal with the situation. And then whatever I do, it's fine. I mean, Gavin Hunt used to moan at me all the time because I kicked the ball out. I just told him, sit down, keep quiet, it's no problem. I'll deal with the situation. You just relax over there. So it's the same. If a team's in a little bit of trouble, I'll kick the ball out, tell everyone just relax, and we carry on from there. So certain things like that where you bring players and just try and help them build confidence. And at the end of the day, like I said, the boy who came on, one of his strengths is he's a good passer of the ball. So I said to him, when you see it, just pass it, just do it. I said, when you ever doubt yourself, give it back to me. We'll deal with it. It's fine. And then you start to enjoy the game. Obviously, with experienced defenders, they know what to do. They know their job at hand, and you just kind of help them, position them, and make sure everything runs smoothly. So I would say a goalkeeper is like a mechanic in the back, just trying to make sure his machines are working all in order. That's pretty much it for me.
But hey, you never get the credit if you concede a goal and the defenders leave you wide open.
No, it's definitely my fault.
Yeah. But if you have a clean sheet, it's almost like okay, the back four played well. Hey, what about the guy who organized them? So that is interesting to hear that that sort of is going on, and it's something which on TV you're not really going to get. It's not glamorous, but my God, you look at the stats when keepers can save you 6-9 points a season, and you look at all the great ones, like you say. You look at the great ones, the communicators, and they organize. So that's so interesting to hear. I've got one more question for you. We got plenty of questions from our YouTube viewers. Thanks for, by the way, Darren Keet. Oh man, this is ridiculous that you're out here talking to a knucklehead like me. What a ridiculous life I live. Talk to me about this. I've always wondered this. Why? Maybe I'm wrong in a feeling, because you're one of very few South Africans that go to Europe and do well. When I look across the leagues, whether it be what you call the developmental leagues that Europeanize players, or even at the top, really, I mean, why does it seem that your Southern Africans don't do as well as the West Africans in Europe? Is that a myth, or am I being too harsh on us as South Africans? Or why? It just seems to me those West Africans get there and they thrive. Do you have any theories? Or do you have any thoughts on that?
I really don't know. I think a lot of times as South Africans, in South Africa, everyone has a comfortable life. So for a lot of guys, yes, it is a comfort thing. So it's nice to be at home with your family. Like even here in Belgium, you talk about comfort. Yeah, Belgium's a good league and things like that. But the guys in Belgium will travel an hour and a half every day just because they don't want to leave their location where they normally live. They don't want to move closer to the club, so they'll drive an hour and a half away because that's just their preference. So I think South Africans are pretty much the same. Home is home. And when you're earning good money in South Africa and you're going to come to Europe and you're not going to earn more or not much more or maybe even less, then people don't want to do it. It obviously makes more sense to stay in South Africa. For me, it wasn't a money issue. It really wasn't a money issue. I just wanted to come back to a league again, to Belgium, because my wife's family lives in Germany. So it's closer to travel. Her grandmother's in Germany and things like that. So yes, I took a little bit of a pay cut to come. I was earning more in South Africa than here, but it's not an issue for me. Obviously, I came here because I knew for myself personally, the club said they wanted to do this, this, and this, which last year was getting promotion back to the first division. And I said, cool, it's a challenge for me. Go back to Belgium. It's a challenge. Win another trophy, hopefully, and help the team succeed and go into the first division, play a few more years in the first division. So like that was my motivation to come back here to try and do well again, be closer to my wife's family and things like that. So it's not always about the money for me, but for a lot of people, obviously, I understand. Why would you go to Europe where you're not going to earn more money than you're earning in South Africa? So yes, it's got to do with comfort. It's got to do with money, because are you going to be earning 3 times the salary you're earning in South Africa? No, not necessarily. But when you're young and you're not earning a lot of money in South Africa, and you're going to come here and you're not going to earn too much, I think that's the ideal time and the ideal situation to go to Europe and to prove yourself and to improve on what you can do on the field and things like that, and then build your status really in Europe. So at the age of 26, 27, I think to come to Europe and try and build, it's very difficult. And like for Percy also, Percy's an example where he's come in and he's hit the league smack bang in the middle. He's running, he's scoring goals and things like that. He'll do well. And again, for someone like Percy who played at Bruges and he won the league, he will do much, for me, he'll do much better at Anderlecht than he did at Bruges, because the way Anderlecht plays football is they play more with an expressive style. There's more freedom allowed on the pitch, whereas Bruges, they were like, you have to do it like this. If you don't run so much, you're coming out the pitch, and things like that. So,
yeah.
There's certain teams who suit certain players and things like that. So, I mean, obviously he's 26 now, and he'll be doing well for the next few years.
By the way, some people don't know who Percy is.
Oh, Percy Tau. Sorry, yes.
Yeah.
So I think, if he does well here, if he keeps playing here, he'll do well for the next few years, and then you never know what's going to happen. But you need to get that start, and obviously it's better at a younger age to get the start to build your status, because then money is not going to make too much of an issue, and then also your comfort really isn't going to make too much of an issue. When you're earning good money in South Africa, you do live a comfortable life, definitely.
So before we finish, I just want to tell you a story about Brazilians. Your 2 Brazilians led you to a happy life. I was at CSK Moscow, and I met one gentleman by the name of Wagner Love, who partied harder than anybody in the world, one of the best strikers Russia's ever seen. They destroyed, I still kind of chat to him. He destroyed my career because he was the Samba King, and he could come on and play like an absolute genius. So I just wanted to tell you that we both have Brazilian stories. It's just that you're 10 times more talented than me. You survived the Brazilians. But my story to that, part of the story is I once asked him, what's the difference between you and us? And I've never been to Brazil, but he did come and visit in South Africa, and, he's been to South Africa a couple of times. And he said to me, you don't know the problem with you guys here. And it was quite brutal for me to hear, because I'm a middle-class kid raised in the northern suburbs of Joburg. He said, you guys don't know desperate. He was in his own. He's a character, by the way. Wagner Love, one of the most electrifying people. If he could speak like better English, I'd have him on the show just so people can get to know him, because he seems quiet as a footballer. But listen, some of the stories, I'll share some stories with you. I'm sure you've got stories as well. Some other time.
I can imagine.
Offline. Yeah, a lot of the stories are offline with him and us pitching to training, and it's just ridiculous. But he said, we don't know desperate here. And I think you were alluding to that, is that we're to South Africans, it seems like, oh my God, we are desperately poor. And people are poor here, yes. Let's not be ridiculous. But when you become a footballer, and we don't know desperate here. When my sister grew up and she went to varsity in the Ivory Coast. So your message, and I may be hearing you wrong, but there's a different level of desperate when you come from Ivory Coast, when you come from Ghana.
I think so, I think so.
And I think that drives, the sort of, you look at the great Senegal teams and these guys, and you look at the French leagues. You look at the French team that won the World Cup, for goodness sake. Might as well have been Africa United. But hey, that's really, really fascinating stuff, man. Darren, you've been incredible. And I just, hey, you're a real person as well. We were chatting. I love your Instagram. Footballer, Umbro, athlete. Yeah, I know you're for real. The young kids say you're the real one. I love your Instagram. It lists you as an Airbnb owner. I love that. Like, hey, professional soccer player, Umbro athlete, Airbnb owner. Tell me about your Airbnb. It's got something to do with golf. Hey, Dean Furman. Because you and Dean Furman, talking of the golf, you and Dean Furman, let's settle it right now. I'm going to tag him on whatever you say. Who's the better golfer?
When one against one, definitely me. But when it comes to playing in a team, then I think Dean Furman's better because his teammate always seems to bail him out. So one against one, it's me.
Let's go! So, wow, that's a double shot.
We played. Yeah,
let's hear it.
We played. I organized a quick tournament at Royal Joburg the one day, just with some of the boys. We put some money, cash money, into the game, and it was in teams of two. So there were just 4 teams, so 4 teams of 2 guys, and Dean's team won, and Dean did absolutely nothing. He picked up his ball after every 5 shots, and his teammate just did everything. Bradley Grobler, I don't know if you know Bradley Grobler from Supersport, and they took all the cash from us, and Dean just did absolutely nothing. So, he'll tell you himself that he's useless.
I like it. Hey, listen, it's always great when the goalkeeper buries the Bafana captain. All right, so Dean Furman, useless at golf. Useless golf, huh? Useless at golf. Hey, man, listen, talking about cash money, tell me, what when you got your first real paycheck, was that in Europe or was it while you were here? Like, you know what I mean? Your big boy money, that first big boy contract, was it here or? So at Wits, when Brian Joffe and the guys said to you, hey, take a seat here, young man, it's time for we take you seriously. Talk to me, what did you do with the money? Did your wife go, all right, listen here, this isn't a frat house? Or what was that? Did you have a vanity purchase? What did you do with that first big paycheck?
So my wife was earning more than I was at that time, which was fine. I was on 8,000 Rand a month, so it's okay. As a start, it was perfect for me. And obviously, I got a sign-on fee. So when I got my sign-on fee, I bought my first car. I had no license, no learners, nothing, but I needed a car. So I was kind of being a little bit naughty, driving without a license and things like that. But I bought a silver Honda Ballard, which I called Olive. And eventually, when I got my next car, I gave that car to my parents, so they're still driving it today. I think the car's from 96, so it's a pretty old car at the moment, but they're still using it. They love it. Did
you eventually get your license?
Eventually, yes.
All right. No, good for you. Listen, you got a wife and a family now. I don't want you getting arrested.
It was only a few months. It was only a few months that I drove without a license. So,
listen, imagine telling people in Belgium, oh, I only drove. You know how organized the Europeans are. They panic at any. Hey, the fact that you have a German wife, by the way, if I know people that are organized and like the rules, it is the Germans. So the fact that your German wife let you get away with that, listen, she must really love you. So good. Listen, as she might say, unglaublich. It is unglaublich that you got away with it for that long. Hey, man, Darren, you're the best, bro. Can you hang around for some YouTube questions? I mean, I had plenty more questions for you, but you're amazing, and I'd love to have you back. So, David Leroux, why don't you give us some questions here for South Africa's number 1, pre-Cretaceous, the Cretaceous era, really. Darren, who would you least like to have to take a free kick against you?
Probably Messi, simply because he likes to put those sneaky ones under the wall, and I absolutely hate those. So my way is obviously teams prepare in a certain way for free kicks, and when I'm standing there for a free kick, we disregard those ones that go under the wall. So we jump at all costs. Don't worry about it going under the wall. If it goes under, it's got to be good. And with Messi, we know it's always good. So the sneaky ones under the wall, definitely, I wouldn't like him to do it.
Great answer. Dave, what's next? Evercrest View says, what do you think about Messi leaving Barcelona potentially? That question should say.
Yeah, potentially. Who knows? I think, you know, there's a certain moment in people's career where time's up, you know, and you spoke about a few guys already who had their time come to an end. And I think, you know, it all depends. It's difficult to say, but if he does leave, I hope he goes to Man United.
No, all right, Dave, cut this guy. This interview's over. Cut it. We're done with it.
You want him at Chelsea?
Hey, do I want Leo Messi at Chelsea? Are you kidding me? Sell everyone. Like even Havertz, all the new signings, give them to Barcelona. Are you kidding me? Do I want Leo Messi at Chelsea? Oh, hope he comes to Man United. And hey, not sure if you saw, Harry Maguire's in some big trouble. I don't know if you saw the news before we came on.
Piers Morgan tweeting it for fun.
Yeah. Hey, listen, sorry, the rig, I'll take this question now, but let's get into that as a footballer, right? You're in the footballing system. When something like that happens off the field, talk to us. How do the structures deal with, number one, the PR side, and how will they deal with Maguire as a player? So talk to me, number one, what will the club do PR-wise to handle the whole mess? And then number two, how will they deal with Maguire, do you think?
Okay, what I think I can tell you, but what clubs do, I have no idea. I've never been in that situation. I don't know anyone who's been in that situation. But I think it all really depends on the club themselves and how they go about things, and also the coach. The coach would have a big part to do with it. Be it the England coach or Ollie also. So I don't know. It's a tough one because, yeah, I really have no idea what they're going to do. It's hard to say. I really don't know. It would be a tough one for me. I wouldn't want to be involved in it. That's for sure.
And how do your clubs deal? Because I'm sure you've had teammates be late or teammates drunken driving. We've all had these teammates. Is the clubs you've been with, how do they deal with these guys? Do guys get fined? Is it a case of if you're talented enough, you can get away with more? How does it generally work at the top level?
I think how it will come out is that it will be harsh, but in the end, I think they'll be harder on the player. Like as a club, you'd be harder on the player, but more in a warning way that if something like this happens again. Obviously, I'm not sure what happened with Harry Maguire. I think it had something to do with assault or something. But I'd say if they don't release him, he's pretty lucky.
Yeah, because he got caught for bribery as well. He's been found guilty of bribery. That's another level. The assault we can deal with. We saw Ben Stokes come back in the cricket, right? He's now the golden child of England. But when you go bribery, oh man, they're talking about 2 years in jail.
Yeah.
It's a situation. But okay, no, fair enough. The rig is the next question. Dave, what you got there, brother? The rig says, I played keeper at Botsig FC too. I was shit though. Are you related to Adrian Keet, who also played keeper at Botsig FC?
Yeah, Adrian's my brother. That's my brother.
Okay. All right.
So
As they say, keeping it in the family.
I wish I had a name. If I knew the name, it would be okay. But obviously, he's not sure who I am. So.
Yeah. The rig is somebody.
Is my brother.
Is your brother? Hey, where's he now?
In Cape Town. He still lives in Cape Town. So I got three brothers. Two of them in Cape Town. One's in the US. Okay.
No, awesome stuff. Good to see all the lads doing well. Cretaceous says, is your wife okay with you being on the shorter side?
She's more than satisfied, I can tell you that.
Oh, she's that's so good. Great answer. Touche. Touche. Yeah, listen, our listeners are unbelievable. Lulama Kabaga says, how important is the goalkeeper overall as someone who sees the match almost from a wider view than the team?
Like I said, I think I said it earlier that we get to see a lot more, and we kind of get the view of everything that goes on. So we get to see the structure. I said it earlier where we kind of see what the opponents are doing, but you also get to see what your team's doing and things like that. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not so good because, the coach will come to you at the end of the game or halftime and he's like, you can see everything. You should be telling them what to do. And I'm like, yeah, well, I'm not the coach, am I? You're the coach, aren't you? So you can tell them. But no, sometimes it is important. The coach will ask you for ideas for things, for what we see and things like that. And it's your input that you need to give to the coach so that he can play it forward to the team. Also, again, one of the games I played, I go to a game that I played because I can recall it, where I saw a certain thing with our striker, where our striker was always left alone, and our coach likes to play at the back. So we're continuously playing short at the back, going nowhere, slowly a lot of times, and obviously sometimes it's good. But when you see an idea where the striker's not isolated, but where he's left alone in a bit of space with only defenders on his back. And I said to the coach, like, when we get the ball, we got to hit him. We got to hit him because he can keep it for us and we can play from there. So, you always have to give a bit of input in what the team can do and what you can do going forward, and also to help the team. So, yeah, in the end, it is quite important on what you see and how you can help the team.
That's interesting to hear that keepers' views get taken in. That's amazing. Doggos on my jaws, he says, is there a reason why you don't cover the PSL on this show? The league has resumed and there's a hectic race. Look, I mean, I'm happy for you to take it, but Doggos says the league has resumed and there is a hectic race to the finish line right now. So, Doggos, I'll tell you why I don't cover the SA Premier League is, we've had problems with getting interviews from the guys. They've been less than cooperative. Let me say, less than cooperative for one. And to be quite frank, and I know it's not the most South African thing to say, is I don't want to watch a league that I feel I could play in. Listen, if I'm going to watch football, I want to watch overseas. And we're an international show. I love South African. I love South Africa. I follow the league. I'm a Pirates fan because my family's Pirates. But come on, we got the English Premier League. We got La Liga. Like how much time are we going to have? Now we might add a Premiership show, but for me personally, the product's not good enough. South African league doesn't try on a media front. It's not my job as the media to try for you. So I'm not going to sit here and try and be over patriotic. And I know the right thing to say is our league and support it. Niche. I'm over it. Is first you come and play ball. Be open with us. Let us in. And then we all play ball. Is they don't want to meet us halfway. And quite frankly, the product's crap. I'm sorry. I got Darren Keet here, but the product's crap. Is they must get the product together. It's not about the talent. Start producing the product properly. So that's my answer. Sorry, Darren. I can't not be honest in life.
No, I can't disagree with you. I think you hit the nail on the head where you said that they don't do enough. I think the league that they have in South Africa deserves to be more out there and more seen, but they're not doing enough to get it to everyone so that they're able to watch it.
There we go. Then Dogozo, there we go. That's about as honest as I can be. You don't have to like it, but I've been honest. The Rig says, would you love to hear Darren's opinion on Paul? Would love to hear Darren's opinion on Paul Pogba, which is an interesting one. Darren, your thoughts on Paul Pogba?
Well, kind of like your take on Neymar. I think he's a good player, lovely to watch, but I don't think he's going to be a great player. But he is a highlight reel. I think he's a highlight player. He's not going to give you consistency week in, week out. And that's a real pity for a player of his ability and his quality.
There you have it, Darren Keet. Dave, what you got for us? We have one more. Pre-Cretaceous says, Darren, I love watching keepers scream at their defenders. What do you say to your backs when they aren't doing their jobs to your expectations? Hey, I love it when keepers go off. So what are you guys saying to those guys?
I don't get in too many arguments. I don't really shout too much at my defenders. What I do tell my players is do what you need to do. I said when they score a goal, then you'll hear from me. So I don't really like to run out screaming and shouting. But like if I call for the ball and they header it away, I'm happy with that. But if I call for the ball and they make an error while I call for the ball, then they'll hear from me, and then they might get a shove in the back or something. I don't necessarily run about and scream too much. I'm more of a chilled person, just there doing my thing.
You know what you sound like? You sound like a black mother, because black moms, you never hear black moms will talk once quiet. It's like, stop doing that. Yeah. The next thing is a wooden spoon flying across the room, because I've said what we must do now. And then, so your mentality is a black mother's mentality is you don't talk too much, but when you talk, there's going to be thunder and lightning. I love that. Darren, we got one more. No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, it's like my wife, whenever I want to get upset with my son, then she says, patience, my love, patience. And I'm like, okay, I don't have much patience left. He needs to hear it from me. So.
Listen, hey, happy wife, happy life. So I'm happy for you. You got someone balancing it out. The rig says, Darren, what's your opinion on Balula calling Bafana a bunch of losers? Can you have an opinion?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was uncalled for, unnecessary, and all sorts of those things. You never want to hear it, especially not from someone who's supposed to give their full support of football, of the team, of any sporting code. I think it's just not necessary, and I think it was a little bit how can you say, cheekish, I would say, or because who is he to think that he was a better footballer than we are, or than what the team was? So, once you can do it, then you can say something. But he's never done anything in sporting wise, for me at least. He's never done anything for me, so he shouldn't be allowed to say those sort of things to a team who's always trying their best. Because you'd love to think that people are always trying their best at all costs, and I don't think a team goes out there not wanting to do their best.
And listen, Darren wants to come back. I'm sorry, Darren, to answer for you. He wants to come back and play for fun. We want him back. So there's a few things he can't say. For me, by the way, you're part of the problem. By the way, as an administrator, you mustn't say, oh, when we win, it's us. When you lose, it's them. No. What he didn't realize is when he says Bafana's a bunch of losers, you're the loser, Chief. You're supposed to create the team, the environment for the team to win. So what you're saying is you're a loser. What he didn't realize, but I mean, what you're going to do? Figile Mbalula, what a nightmare. He's a loser. I'll say it. I'm happy to say it. Darren Keet has a lot to lose. He's a talented human representing South Africa and Belgium. I'm nobody. Mbalula stinks. He stinks. Terrible human. Hey, Darren, before I let you go, man, you're reaching adult age. You're a family man, as you've said. You're in a situation now where some big money has come into your football club. The ownership is, I believe, the same ownership group that own Leicester. That is King Power. And you're at an interesting kind of period in your career. The structure's changed as they brought in a keeper, and you're sort of second or third option. You're kind of thinking of a few things, and maybe the next phase of your career. Could you maybe talk to us a little bit about where is Darren Keet right now, and what does the next 18 to 24 months look like for the Keet family?
So what it looks like short term, I'm not too sure at the moment. But what has happened, like we've come into Belgium, obviously to first of all help the team get promotion, which we were able to do. I didn't play too much last season because I arrived late, and the keeper who was playing, he did pretty well, and he actually earned himself a move to Standard Liège, which is a big club in Belgium, and I started off the season as the first choice. I started playing all the games, everything in preseason. I did as well as I could. I've done my part to the best that I can, and obviously since we got promoted, with Leicester being our owners, they've decided to send in a keeper from Leicester. He's a 23-year-old who they want to gain more experience playing at a higher level and things like that, because he was on loan to Oldham Athletic in League 2, and then he went on loan to Rotherham in League 1. So they've kind of sent him to us to gain some more experience playing at a higher level. And then also we had some new coaches come in, and they've come along with one of the keepers that they've used previously at the old club. So they were quite interested in bringing him in. So which left me going from first choice keeper, first choice playing all the games, to going to being like a fourth choice keeper, because like here in Europe they prefer to have a quality youngster who's going to be learning a lot, being the third choice keeper. So currently my situation is I'm looking for a club, either to go on loan or to move to on a free transfer. I've spoken to the club CEO and things like that, so we'll be looking at what our options will be in the near future. So the next few months, I'm not sure what it holds for me. But we're still having a look to see where we can go, what we're able to do. Obviously, a move within Belgium would be ideal because we know Belgium and it's easy. I'd like to remain in the league because it's a good league and I want to play, and I feel I deserve to play and things like that. So to stay in Belgium would be ideal. But if it doesn't happen, then I've also got someone looking in the US for me, in the US or Canada, seeing what we can do there, moving that way wise. So in the next year, to be honest, in the next year, I have no idea. In the next few months, no idea. At the moment, it's just a waiting game and a patience game.
Stay loose, hey? Loosey goosey. Hey, David Beckham needs a keeper at Inter Miami, number one. But I tell you who really needs a keeper, because the Kepa version is awful. Pop on over to Stamford Bridge. We need a quality keeper there who's going to organize things at the back. Maybe get your manager, get Frank Lampard on the blower, and let's get this thing going. Let's get this thing going.
Unfortunately, not allowed to play in England, with the visa requirements. Yeah.
This Brexit's affecting everyone, guys. This Brexit's affecting everyone. Listen, Darren Keet, you're the guy, bro. You're the guy, because a lot of interviews are. Hey, speaking of which, have you been? So I remember one of my favorite experiences in Belgium was going to a mayonnaise festival. Like, if people don't know out there, is the Belgians take their mayonnaise. Hey, you can, Darren, you're laughing because you know what I'm talking about. The Belgians take their mayonnaise so seriously. I went to a mayonnaise festival in Bruges. I will never forget this. Back then it used to be about a good time. I was hammered by like 3:00 in the afternoon. We were just, but mayonnaise festival. You been to a mayonnaise festival?
No, I haven't. Never been there yet.
All right. How are you liking that? You like that Belgian mayonnaise? They're big on the yogurt as well.
Oh, mayonnaise and fries. It's I never knew it before. I never knew it before I came to Belgium. But ever since we moved to Belgium, I mean, what was it, 7-8 years ago? Always mayonnaise on fries. Always
mayonnaise on fries. Listen, listen. It's what keeps the guy at the top. There you go. The supper of champions. Mayonnaise and fries. Darren Keet. Yeah. No, let's hear it.
No, I was going to say, talking about mayonnaise. Just now the other day, because of lockdown, people weren't able to do anything. So the government and everyone was pleading people to please eat more fries because they had an overload of potatoes. So they literally asked the public to buy more fries, to eat more fries and things, because they just had too many potatoes.
What a world! What a world!
Oh,
hey, listen. Like 1945, we have no food. 2020, we have a pandemic and way too many potatoes, people.
Exactly.
What a great time to be alive. What a great... Listen, you got to... we need to get you on just for the stories, bro. I mean, it's your wedding story. It's this story.
I've run out of stories.
No, hey, listen, it doesn't sound like it. I'm pretty sure there's more. Darren Keet, you are the guy, man. You are the guy. And Darren, I'm not shy about saying this. As a South African, you're doing your thing. You're raising the flag high for this country, and you know we're going through a difficult time. We're a really young country. Every time somebody from South Africa is representing us is coming correct. To me, just to hear South African at the top league, you know, we don't hear. There's no nonsense from you. There's no off the field stuff. So there's no one going, oh, South Africa again. Or they go, oh, here's a South African, hardworking, never late. We don't hear problems. So to me, bro, big up. For me, any South African around the world, please keep rocking. And I know it's not always the direct support you can feel from us. And I don't know what my support means to you, but bro, I love it because you're putting my country. So when I travel, I can walk around with my head held high to say, I know there's you, there's all sorts of South Africans doing the right thing. And whatever you do, I cannot wait to hear about it. And I can only wish you the best. Number one, as a footballer, but as a fellow South African brother.
No, thanks very much, Mbulelo. Appreciate it. Let's hope that more South Africans make their way out to Europe soon also, you know, so that the football can grow everywhere in South Africa, and Bafana will eventually start getting better and start to rise up the rankings so we can get up in the world rankings also. So let's make sure everything starts moving forward for South Africa as a whole.
There you have it. Darren Keet, my guy, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it from the finest we've got. He says, let's keep rising, keep on keeping on. Bafana in the future could raise into the top 10, top 5, who knows. Let's keep hoping he's right. You know, he's somebody who's blazed the trail. We can follow in his path. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been an honor. That was awesome. That guy is a firecracker, by the way. That is awesome because footballers are usually toast. They're usually dry toast with no butter. And they have to say the right thing, cookie cutter nonsense. But he's wide open. And that's great to see. He's a personality. And you can see why he's made it to the top. Right? I am who I am, and I'm proud of it. And I love that about him. And as a fellow South African, absolutely proud. For today, ladies and gentlemen, that was awesome. Tomorrow, we got a special guest. Look out on our social media. If you don't know him, he's a Chelsea influencer. He's an entertainer. Dummy is on tomorrow. If you haven't seen his videos, Dami, he's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Go and look him up on Twitter. He is electrifying. Chelsea aficionado. He's on tomorrow. It's coming out straight from, he's in Sheffield, but supports Chelsea. Cannot wait to have Dummy on tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, for today, it was Darren, Keet. It was Big Shot Media. It was CliffCentral. The sports revolution continues. Ladies and gentlemen, for tonight, it has been a different ballgame.